Jim, well, obviously from Ireland. Were you in theatre in Ireland, or it wasn't until you got to Australia where you became a comedian?
Theatre. I don't know if I've ever been in theatre. I certainly won't be at East Banks. No, I started as a builder originally, and it was just as a night out, a bit of a laugh, that I sort of got up and told a couple of jokes because it was a comedy night. And then that was basically the start of my career. I sort of turned my mind towards it after that.
Was that here in Australia?
That was in Australia, yeah. So, but I was pretty young when I started. When I came out, 22, and I sort of, it was good actually doing it for a laugh. I must remind myself to do more for a laugh. once you buy into it being a business or a job, it sort of doesn't have that same.
I was going to ask you, doing. Well, I take it you've got a routine, and you do that routine time and time again. Do you become a little bit lethargic with it?
No, I mean, my heart goes out to people in plays. You have to do word for word every night, and they do it for long runs. I don't really have anybody else to give cues to, so I mean, it's totally up to me what I do. And I keep it really loose, and I do change it in order just for my own personal satisfaction. But at the same time, you got to do a good show. So it changes over a period. Normally, the reason why I don't come back anywhere is because it takes about a year and a half to write a good hour of stand-up. I mean, you can waffle, and but there's very few funny bits, a bit like now. You know what I mean? Like it's sort of they're gems. A good comedy is like digging for gems. You have to shift a lot of dirt before you get the good stuff. And you remember it becomes part of your act. But I will leave it at least a couple of years before I go back to any place, simply for that reason.
Now, you went back to Ireland, didn't you? And you did a tour of Ireland. How did that go?
I go back all the time. In fact, I go back next week. I go back to Ireland as well. I mean, it's. My wife had another baby this year, so I took most of the year off making school lunches and doing things like that. Okay. And now I'm just getting back into it again. And I go back. I do Shephard and Echuca, Albury, and then I go to Ireland, and I do Cork, and then I do the Queen's Festival in Belfast.
You play for the thrill, you play for the honour, you play for the game.
Wrapped up in a dirty big tackle. Oh, good work.
They have to gut this quarter out. Fields for the free kick and is successful in hailing the cat. GVFL.
Kicks inside 50 and a nice mark taken.
Full live coverage.
Three-quarter time at Victoria Park, Echuca 10-9, 69.
Footy's never sounded so good.
Try and win the quarter, and so far they've done.
There is only one you need.
This time I'm playing to win.
FM 98.5. Coming soon.
News. Possible showers today, 18 degrees. Sunny tomorrow, 21. Melbourne showers, 18. Currently 7 degrees. Humidity, 85%. The wind southwesterly at 15 kilometres an hour. And the average price of unleaded around town at $1.42.9 a litre. Good morning. 4 to 8. Around 400 homes and businesses in Mooroopna are still without phone and internet services after the massive lightning strikes on Monday night. Telstra Countrywide's Robert Bell outlines the problem.
Well, Melinda, it's about 400 homes, that's private homes, and some businesses in the Echuca Road area in Mooroopna. And this has occurred as a result of the major lightning strike on the main cable in Echuca Road. And we think at this stage, up to about a kilometre of cable has been affected. But unfortunately, that's not the end of it, because they're also being what we call distribution cable as well, and that's the cable from the main cable to people's homes and businesses. So once we restore the main cable, we then start work on that distribution cable to try and get customers back online as quickly as possible. Look, our engineers and technicians are working on it at the moment, and we anticipate that we should start bringing people back on about over the weekend, possibly Sunday. But we strongly advise people, if they need to get their inbound calls in, that they call 132203 and have their phone numbers diverted to their mobile.
The Brumby government's establishing a $1.5 million funding pool to attract and retain highly skilled medical staff in provincial and rural Victoria. Victorian Health Minister Daniel Andrews says the funding pool will enable regional hospitals and health services to snap up highly valuable specialists before vacancies arise.
In advance of a current specialist retiring or leaving a rural and regional community, the health service would be able to draw down on some of that funding, part of that $1.5 million, to secure the services of a new medical specialist some weeks or months ahead of them actually beginning work. It's a smart way to spend our money. It's a smart way to invest in the workforce that we'll need to meet the challenges of the future.
And a new survey revealed some surprising trends when it comes to Australians seeking advice and taking action on their health.